Are you gonna wear your hat this time?
No.
No? Come on. The people live for the hat, Jungle. You gotta wear your hat. Come on. Yeah, see?
I don't like it.
It matches so well with your sweater.
I don't like it.
It matches so well with your sweater.
It doesn't.
It actually does.
It doesn't match. Hey, I want to welcome you to the jungle this week.
Mm-hmm.
This is In the Jungle with Jungle Jim Hunter, where we study life from impact of sport and inspire, educate, and communicate how you can live your best
How
life.
specifically me?
Just you.
Just Cole. Yeah, I'm
Just
trying to
Cole.
figure it out.
Nobody else.
I'm pretty lost. Jungle's helping me out.
And if you would like to be inspired,
Mm-hmm.
or if you have questions and desire to be educated and would like to improve your communication with yourself and others, become a Patreon and begin your training. Join, and you can send us your question, and I will send you a personalized answer.
Oh,
from
yeah.
me. I'm looking forward to your questions. This week's podcast came from a question of a listener, and so I'm looking forward to answering that question.
It's gonna be good.
And I'm going to take my hat off to do the show.
Okay. Well, we got a few seconds this
You've
time.
got
I'll take
a couple
it.
of seconds.
I'll take it. I'll
I
take
told
it.
you,
I'll take
I'm going to
it.
get my own hat.
I'll take it.
I'm getting my own hat, and when I get my own hat, I'll wear it.
So the question this week's about self-doubt.
That's right.
Personally for me, like, yell and lift the weight and make so much noise everyone hears you and all these great things, and I appreciate that. But like, what if I doubt my ability to do it? Like, what if I'm not good enough, Jungle? What if they're gonna look at me and think that
that is
I'm
the
not
question.
good enough?
That is the question that we got. The question I got when I read it says, "What do I do if I doubt my ability to do what I need to do?" What I want you to understand, Cole, and what I want the listeners to understand is that I'm going to go back just to give you a little bit of review and a little bit of frame of reference. And that is this, is that last time I spoke about, and I've spoken about it not just the last time, but many times, about the 10 greatest assets that you and I have, that every human being has. And that is time, life, choice, giving, and community. Right? And those are you. On this side is your world. And we're going to talk about that at another time.
Okay.
But on this side, this is you. And
So you have 5 things, basically, is what you're saying.
yes.
What are they again?
Life.
Life?
The fact that you're alive
That's pretty cool.
is the number one thing. Because if you're not alive, the rest of it doesn't matter. Right?
I mean, yeah.
And the minute
you
you
got
take
it.
your first breath after they swatted you on the butt,
Okay.
time began.
Time.
Because you took your first breath and went, ah! And screamed and hollered. Right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. I got life. I
And
got
then
time.
the first thing you said was, give me something to eat.
Probably. I'm hungry. I'm a hungry
Is
guy.
your hand in front of the camera?
No, it's not in
I
front
think
of the
it's
camera.
in front of the
not.
camera.
No, it's not.
That
I'm
bugs me.
looking at the camera.
That really bothers
No,
me.
it doesn't. Does it bother you? We're good.
Anyway.
2. Number 3. So wait, number 3 is
Number 3 is give.
give. What
Choice.
choice? Okay,
Because-
2 choices.
You, from the moment you took that first breath, have a choice.
Right.
And what we do is most of the time we abdicate our ability to choose because we're influenced by other people to do what they want us to do.
Oh, so our choices are influenced by the people around us, basically.
Environment around you. It's pretty simple. And for most people, they don't realize that they eventually abdicate that power.
What does that mean? What's abdicate?
You give it up.
Oh, they just give up their choice power.
You
Because
give
they
up-
just become like robots, basically.
Exactly. And I don't mean out there that the listeners are robots, but what I'm saying is when you give up your power to make a choice that makes you better or takes you where you want to go, then when you give the best of you, which is the 4th one, when you give what you have, it's based on what you believe inside of yourself. And so this question of what do I do if I doubt my ability to do what I need to do, it is the first word in my material that comes under choice.
Okay, wait. So we have 5 things. So life,
Time,
choice, give.
Community.
Community.
Community is the 6 foot, 7 foot reach of your arms, and if you made a circle on the floor, that's your community. That's where you live.
That's right.
And
got
if
it.
you don't like that community, you don't like this one. You don't like what the world
Oh, wow.
handles you.
Yeah. If you don't like what you...
If you don't like your community, you don't like the world.
All you know is the 6 foot circle
It's
around
like what you said about in front of my house. Why do you shovel the snow in the street away from the house? And I told you, and you got it.
Jim, you are the only guy I ever have known to go on the road, halfway up the road. I parked in front of his house today, and I realized that Jim shoveled all of the ice. It is like a foot of ice on the road. He shoveled a foot of ice halfway onto the road. Why? This man.
Because if you're somebody that's coming to visit me and you park your car in front of my house, I want you to be able to step out onto dry pavement.
Yeah.
I don't want you to step on ice and fall. I don't want you to have to step in snow. I don't want you to have to do that. I want to make sure you know that I took care of your needs before you got here.
Wow. Well, I'm never going to shovel ice
And
in front of my house, but I appreciate all
you
the nice
will.
words.
I will change you. You will.
You'll change me. Okay, the 5 things. We got it. Last one's
Okay.
community. 5 things.
So,
That's what you have, basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
so doubt comes on the heels of choice.
Doubt comes on the heels of choice. Okay.
It's the first word under choice in my lexicon because doubt, let's say it's where the origin and every emotion that you have in your life that affects you is introduced to you by doubt.
Explain it in simpler terms.
When you have doubt,
Okay.
it comes about because you have to make a choice.
Yes. Okay.
Right?
Yes. Mhm.
I put ice cream on a spoon in your mouth when you were sitting in a high chair,
Uh-huh.
and you go, give me more of that.
Right.
But then I try to sneak in some asparagus,
Mm.
and you go, and you made a choice. Because you doubt, even though you don't know what asparagus is, you doubt that it's no good for you.
Right.
Doubt is sneaky.
Doubt is sneaky.
It's very sneaky. I want to use this illustration. I don't want people to think that I'm going spiritual on you or religious, but it's in the Old Testament. It's what Satan did to fool Eve into eating the apple
In Genesis.
in
Yeah, yeah,
Genesis. Okay?
yeah. It was doubt. It was doubt.
And
Yeah,
everybody
you're right.
knows that story. I don't have to tell you the story.
Eve
Everybody knows
doubted God,
that
right?
Eve
Yeah.
doubted God. What did Satan say? He said, did God really say?
He's being sneaky.
Did he? It was sneaky. He's very sneaky.
Right.
And he uses that in every one of us because he wants us to make choices that make us feel good. And we as human beings like to feel good. Here's a problem. The word doubt, the Latin word was dubitare.
Tear.
Dubitare. And I may be saying it wrong because I do not speak Latin.
Dubitaire.
But that's the best I can do, taking it from my dictionaries that I have about all the different words. And I've been studying this all my life. And it means in English to hesitate.
yeah. Okay.
And in
yeah.
French, it's douter. In Middle English, it was doutin. And in Greek, it was disastro. And that means to waver and hesitate. In a subset, it says you must choose between two things. You see, the minute you doubt, it places unbelief in your head about the previous choice or about the choice you're about to make. And remember, I've talked about this before, the word believe and the word belief, any word that contains the word, a root of believe, contains the word lie. And we believe the lies we tell ourselves. So if we say we're no good, if we say I can't bench press 225, you can't do it.
Right. Just by nature of how you think.
And because if I say the opposite, I can bench press 225, and you go, but I know I can't, we would rather believe the easy one than the hard one, because the difference is it takes the work.
Right. The saying I can't do something is the easy answer.
It's
is what
the
you're
easy
saying.
answer.
Right.
From birth, you should be taught you can.
From birth, you can bench 225. The babies,
No.
like, they got it. Is that what you're saying? Throw them right on the bar.
I'm not saying you should throw them under the bench press when they're a baby.
Okay, we might need to clarify here. Let
I'm
me see
gonna
if
have
I
to-
can understand.
I'm going to have to create a new set of training equipment that a baby can
Right.
bench press 225 in the high chair. We can just lay it back.
Right.
But that isn't what I'm saying.
what are you trying- what do you
What
mean?
I'm saying is this, is that we do what? We as parents love our children. We love them. I love my kids. I had 4. We had 4. We would do everything and anything for them, and every parent will. But we forget that they have to grow up. And so we keep spoon feeding them. And we keep doing it and keep doing it. As long as we do it, they don't do it.
Right.
The reason why we don't put a spoon in their mouth and give them the bowl of ice cream is because of the mess. And then I got to clean up the mess. But the sooner you put that spoon in their mouth and they learn that when they turn the spoon upside down and the ice cream falls out, guess what? They grow.
They learn.
They learn and they grow, and they learn how to be interdependent with you. In other words, they can take care of themselves.
Right.
More of those things you put on their shoulders, and the faster you do it, the better it changes them.
So like they're learning how to eat with a spoon, basically. And
Exactly.
they're learning how to do it themselves.
Just like they learn how to put their socks on.
Right.
Just like they learn to put their clothes away.
Tie their shoes.
They learn to make their bed. All of these things, as lousy as they make it, praise them for doing it and let them learn to do it their way. So, doubt places unbelief. And
Doubt
we
places
believe the
unbelief.
lies, and we have to ask ourselves, is that lie fiction or is it fact? When we become an adult, the problem is for most of us is that we think everything that we say to ourselves, we get in the habit of saying it's true and it's not. And we never question it and say, well, that's not true about me. I'm not that way. At least I don't think I'm that way. So what is it about me that says I'm that way? To change so that when you say, I doubt my ability to do something that I need to do, the only way to change it is to face the facts. And if you face the facts, you can change it. Doubt then positions, and this comes on the heel of unbelief, unfaithfulness. And you say, how's that connected?
I don't
Look
understand these words together.
If I can't do something, if I tell myself I can't bench press 225,
Right.
I do what? I quit going to the gym. January 1, New Year's resolutions. This year, I'm going to lose 50 pounds.
Right.
You go to the gym for a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3, and then something comes up.
Oh, can't do it anymore.
Oh, I can't do it anymore. I'm not getting any progress. I don't see any weight loss. My pants still fit tight. My
Oh.
shirts are tight. Go next time.
Mm.
And unfaithfulness, in other words, your commitment to keep doing it stops. Well,
Right.
the problem is if you're overweight, if you're out of shape, or if you can't bench press 225 because you started at 140, you haven't done it long enough.
Right.
And because you haven't done it long enough, as long as you hold to that ideal that you can't do it, doubt wins.
Doubt is like fueled by the idea that you're believing the lies, basically,
Right.
is what you're trying to say.
You see, doubt attaches itself to every feeling that you have because it's so small. It's just this
So small,
little,
sneaky.
It's this little
Gets in there.
sneaky thing that sneaks in through the keyhole. It slides under the door and it comes up and it goes, told you.
Can't do it. Can't do it. No progress.
Number 3, doubt then pairs up with the emotions, and that's how it comes in. Creates doubtfulness, dubiousness, uncertainty, incertitude, all of these words that come in that all of a sudden say, this is what I am. This is actually who I am. This is where I go. This is what I've become. And I guess I might as well just accept the fact that I just can't do it. Ask yourself, what's true? Because if what you believe is not true, then you have a belief that is faulty. And that leads to unresolved difficulties, false philosophies, fears, mistrust, and this little word. There's 32 two-letter words, and you should know all 32 and what they mean.
Like
Someday
at.
I'll do a podcast on
So?
all 32 of them.
Like those like 2-letter words.
So, we, us,
There's 32.
it. There's 32.
Oh. You went and counted them?
Yes.
Of course you did.
Of course I do. You know I do. The one that's connected to doubt is if. The one connected to doubt is if. And if I could only, if I had. Behind it, doubt always inserts your personal pronoun. I. If I. If I could, if I had. It always does it. And when you say that, it's the first step to running away from a challenge. It's the first step. And once you take a step, it's easy to make the next step. You've heard this, the famous saying, every journey begins with the first step.
Right. Yeah, the famous saying, is it one day or day one?
Exactly. So doubt leads to apprehension, suspicion, fear, dread, wavering, uncertainty, and finally it leaves you undecided. And when you get left undecided, it stops bothering you because it doesn't have to anymore. Because doubt now has inserted itself. And the thing to think about is this, is the weakest unarmed enemy every person has is doubt. He doesn't have arms. He doesn't have
he doesn't
legs.
have anything again. He's just there.
He's got nothing to stop you. That's why it's the first word that affecting you when you don't do something, when you can't do something. I used to tell my athletes all the time, doubt dogs everyone that attempts greatness and has no bite when we stop feeding it. Doubt dogs everyone that attempts greatness and has no bite when we stop feeding it. You have to stop feeding doubt. And if you don't, he just keeps eating away because you gave him the free fruit, just like the apple.
Right. You just giving him stuff.
Hey.
And he's growing. He's still there.
As long as you keep spoon feeding him.
And you say, "Oh, you're right. Oh,
You know?
you're right. I can't do
How
it."
many 5-year-olds do you know are still fed by their parents? I know some. Because the parents don't want a mess. It's time for your kids to make a mess and then make them clean it up. Did I say that?
Whoa,
I can't believe I said that.
This guy, whoa, okay.
Okay, so doubt then invites the other emotions.
Doubt invites the other emotions. Okay.
It brings it along with it. And I want you to understand this so that you can put it into a context that you'll never forget it. And that's my goal here today, is to understand that when you say the word doubt, you think of this. I've talked many times about the seed.
Right.
And
The
how
seeds,
we
yeah.
select the best seeds to grow the best crops
Mm-hmm.
so that we can feed the most people. The seed has all it needs. The seed doesn't go to training school to learn how to grow. The seed doesn't go somewhere and get
Right.
a 12-year education.
Right.
You put it in the ground, water it, it'll grow. And so if you prepare the soil, which is what you have to do for a human being, you also have to train it, because unlike the seed, it has the power to choose what it does.
Humans.
Humans do. And because we have the power, and I want to use an illustration which I think you will really appreciate and understand because you're a computer whiz.
Okay,
And-
sure.
And that is this, is that the core of a computer is called the seed.
The CPU?
I don't know what part it is, but I know from studying
Okay,
it
sure.
that they call it the seed, and it's what makes it work. It has to be there first
Right.
for it to work. And they call that information technology. They overall cover it with information technology. I call it, instead of information technology, I call it internal training. And so I teach everybody internal training. And I want you to understand the difference. Okay, culturally, education teaches the tools to learn.
Culturally, education teaches you the tools you need to learn.
To learn.
Okay, sure.
But it doesn't teach internal training of how to operate your system.
So it doesn't teach you like, okay, great, I know how to learn this, but like, how do I practically?
How do I turn this on?
Oh, right.
Okay, I know how to read and write.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to do math.
Know how to write an essay.
I understand
Know how to do algebra.
how to write all these things. I know how to do all this stuff. How do you then turn the operation system on so that once you discover what you're good at and what you're passionate about and what you love to do, you know how to operate the system, because your mom and dad aren't going to be there to keep on spoon feeding you. And the school is gone.
Right.
I'm going to give you something to really think about.
Okay,
And I'm
okay.
so excited to
Okay,
tell you
all
today.
right.
I'm so excited to tell my listeners this.
Jim is smiling for
Because
those listening on audio. He's got a
There
big
are
smile
26
on.
letters in the alphabet,
Right.
and only 2 of the letters in the alphabet are reversible.
We talked about K last time.
We talked about K. K is not reversible.
No, it's not. It's
K
not.
is a one-way letter. When you print it, it always goes that way. When you write it, it always goes
can't
the same
flip it.
way. But D is reversible.
What do you mean reversible?
Well, the D goes this way, and the D goes this way.
Huh?
The capital D goes that way, and the
Oh,
small D
you're
goes
right.
this way.
The loops are
And there's
you
only
draw
2
them
letters.
backwards.
Now, I'm not going to talk
Oh.
about the second letter
Okay.
today. I'm only going to talk about the D, because there's only 2 letters in the alphabet
see
that
the-
are reversible. But D, if you look up all the words in the dictionary, and don't ask me if I have, because I have, I've looked at all the words, and almost all of them are action words.
For D.
Every D is decisive, disciplined, do, don't.
Die.
Every one of them is action orientated.
Right.
And so when you look at the letter D and you think about it and you say, I have to be determined, I have to decide, I have to be decisive. Isn't it funny that the word doubt on the negative side is a D word? It's an action word. And so it gets in there with the action words, and it's associated with taking action. And so because of it, this is the way I learned. Remember, I told you how I learned the letter K. The letter K, you're coming down the road. I don't have enough information. Got to go around again.
Right.
Oh, I don't want to go that way. I'm not going there. I don't even want to know anymore about
Right.
that.
Yep.
I'm going left. Or I can choose the down, or I can choose the up.
Downstroke,
Down is
upstroke, right.
negative.
Up is going where
positive.
you go.
It's going where
Yep.
I'm going. When you come to the letter D,
You come from the letter C.
exactly.
Yeah, C. I got it. Okay.
Okay. The D in the word doubt, right next to it is the O, and it's do. And next to the O is the letter U. Now, the way it was presented to me and the way I was taught it and the way I teach it to all my athletes.
Jim's got a glass of
I was
water.
gonna use a cup, but I'm going to use this jar.
Sure. Okay.
It's shaped like the letter U,
Yeah, it's like tall and skinny. I
right?
see it.
It's
Yeah.
tall and skinny, but it's shaped like the letter U.
Like me.
The question I have for you is, what are you putting in it?
In the cup of water?
Are you putting doubts or are you putting action?
Mm.
Are you doing something to go where you want to go? Or are you saying, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can. Maybe I can't do that. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I doubt if I can do that. Because the BT in doubt stands for between two.
Between two.
Yeah, between two thoughts. Can I or can't I?
Hmm.
Do I or don't I? I was taught that that's the letter D. And it's always raising the question of, can you do something? Can't you not do something? And how do you beat that? It's what you fill the you with. You fill the you with truth. You fill it with belief. You don't
Not lies.
fill it with lies. You do not put lies in there because the B and the T in doubt means that you're between two things. And because you're between two things, you're always questioning yourself and wondering, well, I don't know, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? And what we forget is that it isn't in the moment that it matters, because most of us don't make a quick decision about something that we have to think about and we
Right.
doubt doing. But you have to think about the long-term effect. If I sow seeds, they start to grow
In your own life.
in my own life.
Right.
If I seed a crop, they start to grow. But if I don't master what I'm sowing a crop that goes wild, that goes crazy, that goes where it wants to go. And we know the story of you sow seeds in rocky soil, they never grow. You sow seeds where there's weeds, and the weeds grow faster than the crop does. And so eventually they choke out the crop and the crop never matures. Or if I seeded in soil that is not prepared right or is too deep in the soil, it never makes it to the surface. It dies. And so because of that, the crop doesn't grow. And I have to be the caretaker. My aunt, who I used to do gardening with, and we used to have massive gardens, she said to me once, we always hoe the row we sow, so it'll grow.
That rhymes.
And
Nice.
that's the way she said it. But think about it. When you doubt, you keep rehearsing that. You're hoeing that row. You keep on rehearsing it over and over. Now, what do doubters do? Doubters take shortcuts.
Yeah.
You know the rule when they used to say in basketball, run the lines, or when on the ice they would say, go between the lines, back and forth, do stops and starts. How many guys went right to the line? I can tell you on every team, every exercise I've ever done, only one guy goes right to the line
they're all
every
like,
time.
Oh, I touched it. I'm close enough.
Everybody else takes a shortcut.
Right.
Or they look for tweaks. They don't want to do the homework. They want to search online and find the answer. I just want to tweak it enough so that I'm not plagiarizing.
Right.
That's all I want to do. Or they're looking for secrets. I mean, it's amazing how many parents would come up to me and say, my son Cole, he's amazing. He's marvelous. He's this and he's that. Have you got any, secrets that in all your experience that he should know so he can become even greater? And I'm going, did you hear yourself? I never say that, but I want to. In Olympic sport, you're familiar with this. You know, guys that look for potions, right? They're looking for the secret potion that will give them more of this or that because they don't want to do the work. And then there's people who look for back doors. How can I get in through the back door? The doers, on the other hand, the guys that say, doubt, you don't get a ground hold here. You can't start. I'm ending your trip right now. They do the hard work. They're the climbers. When they're pushed to the limits, they create the solution. When they're pushed to the limits even further, they start to have visionary perspectives on what they should do and how they should do it and what they should do. Thus, they do things like I did. Although maybe they shouldn't do what I did because some of it was dangerous, but I ride on top of my dad's truck.
Right. You spin inside tires on tractors, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be prepared. But it was what I had, and I took what I had, and I didn't sit there and go, well, I don't know if that'll really help.
I don't really have an Olympic gym. I can't really train.
I mean, why would I put a 16-foot ramp in a barn and practice starts on straw? Like, why would you do that?
That's crazy. I have those videos still. That's wild.
I know. You can show them sometime.
I will.
And then finally, they build and they climb, and they build and they climb. Now, why is that important, Cole? Why is it important that you understand this? I have this mountain
Okay.
of the 671 emotions.
That's a lot of emotions, sir. Did you count all the emotions?
Yes.
Of course you did.
Here's the thing. If each one of them is in a triangle, so you can visualize the picture, the mountain
Okay,
goes
a
like
mountain,
this,
there's a
and
bunch of
every
little
one of them
triangles.
has triangles like this. And they all lean on each other, and every one of those are rocks.
Wait, so the emotions build the mountain. They're like, it's
Exactly.
part of the mountain. Okay.
It's
yeah.
part of the mountain because
Yeah.
the positive and negative are both there. If you don't deal with the doubt and you're standing in the start, and I'll use ski racing as an example because it's very simple and easy to understand for me, and I hope I can explain it well enough that my listeners will
Sure.
understand it.
Or me.
If I'm standing there and the course is icy and I'm afraid of ice, what kind of a race am I going to have? Or I get to the Olympics and the course is very turny and I'm not good in turns. And I knew that I was not good on my left turn, but great on my right turn. And this course has more left turns than right turns because it goes down and around the mountain this way to the finish. And I'm going, that's my weakest side. And I know that. And I didn't deal with it. I didn't do something about it. I didn't prepare so that I could do it. Then I can't climb that mountain. But the problem is when I get to the Olympics and all that pressure comes, it's like these guys going to the Super Bowl. It's like the guys going to the Stanley Cup in a couple of weeks. It's like anybody going to one of these major events. And when the pressure's on, you can't tell whether inside they're crumbling. You can't tell if they're caving in. You can't tell if all those rocks of doubt and worry and fear are all of a sudden going boom, just like Frank Slide, the whole side of the mountain comes down. And all of a sudden, the guy that's at the Olympics can't perform, and you go, I don't understand. I don't understand what happened to him. That mountain of emotions crumbled. And so if you want to go from somebody that says, when I try to do something I want to do and I doubt that I can do it and I can't do it, you have to ask yourselves and face the facts of doubters stay in the boat, but doers walk on the water.
Doubters stay in the boat, doers walk on the water.
Doers walk on the water, not both.
Right. Doubters sink.
Doubters sink. The minute you try to walk on the water and you say, I can't do this, and I wonder if I can do this, you grab for the boat. In downhill racing, we call it reaching for the ripcord. You're going around a corner and you see some guy that's going really fast and he's having a good run, but all of a sudden he gets to a left corner and he's no good on the left side, and his arms go up like this. We go, he reached for the ripcord. He just pulled the ripcord.
Oh, and his arms go up.
And his arms go up.
Right. Is that to slow down?
Because he's afraid.
Oh, got it.
And he slows down, and it happens naturally. But the guys that drive their arms forward was the guy that practiced on the seat of his tractor, holding his crouch position for hours, knowing that he can hold that position no matter what the conditions are. Well,
that's you. Yes, I can. There's a video on the screen right now of you jumping up and down on a tractor.
You either stay in the boat or you walk on the water, one or the other. Because what you poured into your cup day after day, year after year, eventually under pressure reveals who you really are. Yep. What fills you comes out of you. You compromise, and here's the difference. Here's the key difference between being someone who lives in doubt and somebody that conquers doubt.
Right, okay.
And that is this. You either compromise and say next time, next time, next time, or you live congruent with yourself. And when I say congruent, you are who you see yourself being, you are who you say you are, and you are what you do. And when you are what you see and what you say and what you do, then your potential becomes intentional and you're no longer a pretender because the house is divided and it falls. Live in you, and don't let what comes between you weaken you.
Wow. That's pretty powerful.
The greater the pressure, the greater chance of failure. God didn't say, well, I think this is who I am. He said, I am.
No doubt. There's no doubt.
There's no doubt there. I am.
Right.
I am who I am. And you are who you are. And the wonderful thing about you is that's what we want to see. That's what I want to see. And I had to learn this the hard way. And it's funny, I've got this far today and I haven't told the story yet. So I'm going to tell the story
time.
now.
Okay. You should put you know what? You should put your hat on for story time. Yeah. Put it on now. Okay. Next time. All right. We'll get it.
The last time we were recording, you asked me about this bike trip, and I did this bike trip where I went from Calgary to Nelson. For those of you that are listening and you don't want to look it up on the map, Calgary's in Alberta.
It's through the Rocky Mountains, guys.
It's through the Rocky Mountains.
That's crazy.
And it's 400 miles.
That's insane. And he biked it. Took him 4 days.
In 4 days.
Wow. He slept in the steel pipes under the road.
I slept in a culvert where the water
to hide from bears.
To hide from bears. But I want to tell you about the second day. And I don't talk about it much because I hate the fact that I had this moment of doubt.
You had a moment of doubt.
I had an incredible moment of doubt.
Rightfully so, biking through the Rocky Mountains.
Okay. Yeah. So when I left Eisenhower Junction, which is where I had stayed the day before and started my trip, the first thing you come to, I could be wrong, I apologize folks if I have it wrong, but I think if my memory serves me right, it's 12 miles uphill. Like we're talking climbing up a mountain pass.
Right, you got to climb 12.
And you got to climb right off the bat.
For 12 whole miles.
Right.
Whoa.
And I attacked it too hard. and I wore myself out. Now, of course, going down the other side was rather enjoyable, but I had burned my lactic acid. I had ruined everything about me from a physical perspective.
Right.
And the rest of the ride was just endurance test. That's all it was. And this is only my second day.
Right, of
and I'm
the
going,
4.
I got 2 more days yet to go. And so I'm using every tactic I can think of to make it.
Up the hill.
And I come to the next pass, which was like 50 miles, 60 miles later.
Right. Like those overpasses with
Yeah.
with like the trees on top of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
kind
cool.
of thing. And so I'm coming to this, and I don't know why, but right there it started to rain, and it started to downpour, and it is just pounding away, and I'm covered, I'm soaked, and I'm dripping wet, and I'm cold, and I'm hungry, and my legs don't want to work, and I'm trying to talk my legs in to keep cycling. And I go, and I go, and I go, how long is this? Man, I forgot how far this was, and how far have I gone? And all perspective went because I was fatigued, I was worn out. All the times when you shouldn't doubt are now conglomerating together to tear me apart. and I'm going as hard as I possibly can, but I'm in first gear and I'm barely moving, and I'm just, oh, come on. Stand up, push. And finally I got to the place and I went, I'm going to quit. Oh man, I'm going to quit. And so I pushed and quit. And I went back and forth so many times.
Doubt.
I was literally, doubt was winning. He was punching me out and he wasn't throwing any punches. And I'm dying. And I finally get off the bike and I go, I know what to do. And instantly my creativity comes to life and goes, I can do this. And I know it's doubt. He's creating this whole environment to just tear me down. And I get down on the ground and I scrape my knee on the floor, on the pavement, so that it takes the skin off.
Oh.
And it's bleeding.
Ha.
And then I lay down with my feet still in the stirrups of the bike, and I'm laying on the pavement. And I'm not laying on the pavement like as in on the middle of the road.
Right.
But I'm laying far enough on that if you came up the hill, you would see me. And I'm waiting and I'm going, oh, somebody will pick me up. Somebody will pick me up. Be prepared to roll out of the way. Be prepared. Somebody will pick me up. Somebody will pick me up. And this green truck comes around the corner and he sees me and he stops. And he gets out and he runs up and he goes, are you okay? What happened? How you're bleeding? He said, here, let me help you. And so I get up and I go, oh, and I'm faking the whole thing. I mean, I am so phony. And he picks up my bike and he puts it in the back. And he takes my knapsack and he goes, are you okay? And I said, yeah. And I limp, and I'm just the worst faker in the world. And I get in and he doesn't drive right away. He just sits there and he opens his lunchbox. He says, I'm just coming home from work. And he says, are you hungry? He says, I got a sandwich left. I went, oh man, I could use that right now. And I could.
Oh,
I had food,
you were hungry, yeah.
But and so I eat the sandwich and we just sit there. He says, do you want some hot chocolate? I still got some left. So he takes it out of the thermos and he gives me a cup of hot chocolate. And we're sitting there and he goes, where are you riding from? I said, from Calgary. Where are you going? Nelson.
You're like, you're crazy.
You're all by yourself? Yeah. Where's your parents? Oh, they're at home. My dad's at the farm. My mom's in Calgary working. I said, I want to be an Olympian. I want to go to the Olympics. And all of a sudden, when I start talking about the Olympics and what I was doing and where I was going, he says, well, we better get going. And he takes off and we go around the next corner. And it says, top of the pass, 600 meters. I looked at him. I tried to look at myself from a different perspective. And I said, stop the truck. He said, what? I said, stop the truck. I said, I'm getting out. I said, I'm a faker. I'm not hurt. I'm okay. And if I'm going to do this, I got to do it the right way. I open the door. I take the bike out, put my knapsack on, and I ride back to the bottom of the hill. And he followed me.
He was watching you.
And he went right behind me the whole time. And I made it up and over the hill and down the other side. And on that side of the mountain, the sun was shining. And I looked back and he was gone. I have no idea his name. I don't know where he went. I don't know where he turned off or if he turned off because there was no place to go.
He's gone.
But he was gone. But the last thing I said to him was, someday I'm going to go to the Olympics and I can't let this be my doubt moment that keeps me from doing this. no matter how much work it takes, no matter how hard it takes. From that moment on, I started to apply what my mother said. Fail faster more often so you know what's the right thing to do. Fail faster more often so you know what is the right thing to do. When everybody else is saying, now you don't want to fail, so
Don't take risks.
don't take any risks. You see, when you doubt and when you don't, you still have to take the next step by faith.
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
But the next step when you doubt is easy because you don't have to fix any goals. You don't have to have the right attitude. You don't have to say, I am responsible. You don't have to improve your technique.
You just do the right thing.
You can just say, well, it's just hard work. But when you have to do the right thing, you have to fix your goals. You have to have the right attitude, F-A-I. And notice that I, just like you, is in the center of doubt. I is in the center of faith. I am responsible. My technique has to be built to an art form. And it's not hard work, it's heart work.
Heart work. Oh,
It's
wow.
heart work.
Not
And
hard.
when it's heart work, then you suddenly realize that the key to not doubting is your first response must be the same as a first responder. They take the training, the teaching, they know how to do what they're doing, and eventually they take that first step and said, I'm ready to step into a burning building. I'm ready to dig into a building that is going to collapse on top of them. I'm ready. And if you learn this as a child, you learn the basics. And the more the parents did for you, the more they paralyzed your chance of being able to not live in a world that is full of doubt. So scare your parents. Literally scare them and be interdependent. Feed yourself, clean up yourself, dress yourself, solve yourself, fix yourself, get it yourself. Listen to yourself, redirect yourself so that you don't have fears and yes buts and procrastination, excuses and waiting and inferiority and denial and superiority, failure, unrealistic expectations, that success is possible instead of a long off somewhere
The distance.
dream.
Yeah.
You won't be hard on self. You don't need to control everything. You don't have to know. You just do. If is just a step towards the next hard thing you're going to do rather than the next easy thing you're going to do. You don't have to pretend, and you don't want anybody to really know who you are and that you're not lacking and that you're not putting on an act and you're not worried. You don't judge everybody. You don't turn into a judgmental, crazy person that is always judging people. You quit being suspicious. You listen to feelings that are unqualified. And you're afraid of the loss of things. And instead, you move forward. So, I want to thank you for listening today to understand doubts and how doubts tear you apart and take you down, and they attach themselves to your emotions. I'm Jungle Jim Hunter, and you've been listening to In the Jungle. You can become a Patreon. We would love you to become a Patreon. Send us your questions, and we will answer.
Oh, yeah.
We'll give you a personal answer. I will personally write you back your question.
I will personally edit the answer as well. It's good.
Cole will edit my
I sure
answers.
will.
He always does.
Yeah.
And I look forward to hearing from you. And tell me what you want to know. Tell me what you want to listen to. Tell me what question you want answered. I've got, as I told Cole once, he said, how much of this have you written? And I said, 2.2 billion words.
And Jim was like, how do I fit all that into a podcast? And I'm like,
I can't
Jim,
get it all into one podcast.
That's a lot of words.
So I just want to help you. That's what we're here for. We're here. I call it ICE Productions, ICE, Inspire, Communicate, and Educate.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm about. I want to pass on what I've learned, what I've taught hundreds, thousands of other people, and it will help you live the best life you can live.
So join us. We're going to head to the extended material, and we'll see you next time, guys.